Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Global Gaming Podcast, where we talk about video games, other stuff, and try to fill time for about at least roughly an hour.
Hmm.
On this episode,
Where we go
we
forward
will,
into the new year.
yeah, we go forward into the new year. New year, same problems, same gaming industry. Um, but is there anything new about the new year, or is it just the same stuff with a new number?
I believe stuff will always get better.
Fair enough. Just sometimes takes a while.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I don't believe EA is going to go broke yet, but I do think they're getting there.
Also, I don't necessarily want EA to go broke. I want EA to be good, but it's probably not. It's probably more likely they'll go broke before that happens.
Hmm.
Anyway, I hope everyone watching this has had a great year, and hopefully 2019 will be even better for everyone.
No, I
And
would hope EA should go broke. Mm.
why should it go broke?
Well, do you know what happens to a company when it goes bankrupt?
I know that some of their assets are like sold off to other people. Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They sell off their assets. And
Fair
any of the
enough.
employees, well, they'll be searching for other companies. Like, hey, I work for this big company. So developers will probably get jobs. Their top developers will. Their top executives will move on to other companies.
But we would
And all of their
lose.
assets, like the franchises they have exclusive access to, hint, hint, will probably get sold off to other people.
You're gonna have to be more precise for the people at home. There's a lot of exclusive franchises to EA. Are you referring to Star Wars?
What would I be referring to? I mean, there's definitely
Well,
that one, but also
there's also
FIFA for
Mass
people who are
Effect.
into that.
There's also Mass
Yeah,
Effect.
Mass
There's
Effect's dead.
also. Well, yeah, but like, my point is like there's a lot of. Let me list off some of the exclusive quote unquote rights EA has access to. There's Mass Effect. There's FIFA, like you mentioned. There's Dead Space. However, like chances of us ever seeing a Dead Space again, well, I don't know. I guess technically they still own the rights to Dead Space. Um, uh, what else is there? Technically Dragon Age. Um, probably Knights of the Old Republic. I know that's technically Star Wars, but whatever. Um, yeah, they own so many companies, it's hard to keep track of this.
Yeah.
Um, what else do they own? I don't know. They own a shitload of stuff. Um, uh, maybe the what is it called again? Respawn game will be good.
A lot better than it is right now.
We'll have to see. We literally know jack shit about. We literally know nothing about the Respawn Star Wars game except that it's called Star Wars like Jedi Fallen Order, and that
Mm.
it takes place between episodes 3 and 4. That's all we know.
So it'll probably involve some Jedi who survived Order 66. Okay.
Yeah, either that or it'll involve Darth Vader.
Well,
Like
of
my
course it's
money
going to
is
involve
probably.
Darth Vader. It would have to.
So that's literally like all we know about it. And supposedly it's coming out in 2019. That's all we know about it. I don't know about you, but that seems a bit suspicious to me. You know?
And we'll get Kingdom Hearts in 2019.
Yes, in about a month away and stuff. A month or
Hmm.
two. I don't know, depending on how you treat numbers. The Kingdom Hearts 3 will finally be released.
Yep.
I remember years ago, like a month or two after Kingdom Hearts 2 was released, I was harassing my sister saying, "Hey, do you know when Kingdom Hearts 3 is released? You know when Kingdom Hearts 3 is released?" And like, thank God I stopped after a week or two. Because can you imagine if it was like that for 13 fucking years?
Hmm.
Oh man. Wish I could go back in time and tell Mini Me that, hey, dude, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
So
We should
yeah,
have known that after Kingdom Hearts 2 took so long to come out.
Kingdom Hearts 2 didn't take so long. It came out like 3 years later.
Hmm.
It
Damn
wasn't
fly.
that.
Yeah, now we have Kingdom Hearts 3, along with 1.5, 2.5, 2.8.
Well, yeah, but like at the time it was just like Kingdom Hearts 1 came out like 2002. Kingdom Hearts 2, 2005. That was only a 3-year gap. And but like the point like 5 versions and stuff took forever to come to the U.S.
Yeah.
It was in Japan for like forever before it finally came to the U.S. I hope all my remaining questions will be answered.
What are those remaining questions?
Like one of my remaining questions is, I was gonna jokingly say where's Tarzan, but then I remembered I already know what happened to that. Disney lost the rights to Tarzan.
Yeah. So they used Chain of Memories to excuse getting rid of it.
What is my final? What I'm wondering is what is in the box at the end of that crappy hour-long movie thing?
Probably irrelevant. I don't know. It was
My
a
guess
tie-in movie to a mobile game of all things.
Yeah. It's a tie-in movie that also expands on things that are in the mobile game. And, like, I don't know, my guess is it's either gonna play a major role in Kingdom Hearts 3, or it'll be a major role in a future other game down the line. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or maybe it'll mean
It
nothing,
could be
I
an
don't know.
explanation as to why the student walking away with the box has Xehanort's Keyblade, but I don't think we'll get that answered either. Maybe that's just, well, we're making it up as we go along, so we have something to write off
maybe not even they know. Maybe they're just like, okay, let's put this here, so if you ever need, like, a cop-out or some other thing, you just say, oh, it's this thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Death Note was written, and Death Note was pretty good, so maybe Kingdom Hearts 4 will be good.
I mean, how's Death Note written like that? What are you referring to?
But Death Note, the author admitted he basically wrote it as he went along.
Oh, fair enough, yeah, but it's like what I'm referring to, like, some are better at hiding it than others and whatnot. You know what I mean? And Kingdom Hearts is kind of obvious that it's been written as it goes along.
Yeah. Because for the most part, Maleficent, why even have her in the series at this point?
Because it's the last connection they have to Disney at the moment. Or by
Yeah.
last connection I have to Disney, I mean, when you think about it, tell me if I'm wrong on
even
this.
her involvement in the series is because of Xehanort.
Yeah. Here's the thing, one funny thing, and tell me if you notice this too, but, like, since Kingdom Hearts 1, the Disney's importance, as in, like, the Disney worlds or villains, have become more of a backdrop and less, like, really important. Like, in the first game, there was a bunch of Disney villains that were, like, the main villains and whatnot. But then after that, it just sort of was like, well, other than Maleficent and Pete, like, none of them are really that important. They're all just sort of window dressing. Something I noticed.
Maybe she would say it was all just Xehanort's plan the whole time to make them feel more important than they really are when they're just doing his dirty work. Either way.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
He wants to find Kingdom Hearts. Hey, look, here's his Heartless. I found Kingdom Hearts. So that didn't go out so well. They want to create Heartless and put tons of hearts into the darkness. Oh, look, here's Kingdom Hearts. Oh, damn it, that didn't go so well.
Anyway.
Let's argue that way. It's like no matter what they do, he gets what he wants.
My question is what are they going to do after Xehanort is retired or dies or goes off and lives with, like, I don't know, the Keyblade people? I don't know. Like, after he's retired, where are they going to go from here?
I don't know. But, I mean, they'll probably leave something there to write off of.
Probably. Excuse me. So anyway,
And
um,
maybe
uh,
they'll explore more of Xehanort's origins, not just kill him off with no explanation.
maybe. All I know for certain is that Kingdom Hearts 3 is a video game that will come out January 29th, unless it's somehow delayed again, which I highly doubt, since review
Mm-hmm.
copies are already out.
Yeah. And a good game it will likely be. It better be after all the time they spent working on it.
Yeah.
And it better be complete as well, Square Enix.
Yes. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if
also in
I
the
and we
news,
better be able to play as other characters as well.
yeah. Also, Atlas announces that they'll announce a game in March of 2019. So now we're having announcements for announcements. First, we had like teasers for trailers. Now
Mm-hmm.
we're having announcements for announcements. Like, what's next?
Never ask what's next. You're not gonna like the answer.
Fair enough.
I mean, with that, I guess we could talk about the PlayStation 5. That's probably gonna come out next year.
Yes, it probably will.
And what we think's gonna be in there.
So what I hope is in there is the what do I want in the PlayStation 5? I really hope. Well, here's the thing that's probably not going to happen because it's a thing that literally everyone would want. I would like, ideally, some backwards compatibility support. That would be pretty cool. Even if I don't buy it, I just think that would be, a cool thing to have. Some
Mm.
backwards compatibility, Sony. That would be,
Well,
Microsoft's doing it a lot.
with what
Be
I've heard
fun.
about that's, I don't think Sony could do that even if they wanted to.
Why is that?
Well, apparently, now this is a rumor. If this rumor is true, it could explain it. This PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet as well, whatever they're calling it, is
Yeah.
going to use a Ryzen CPU architecture.
Okay.
And
Like,
the
why would that?
PS4 and the Xbox One uses Jaguar cores
Okay.
for their CPUs, and they're incredibly different. Because
Well, I
with a
guess
console
so.
game, I mean, the games are optimized to work with certain CPU types.
But is it really that impossible to get like a measly or the such an uber powerful PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 game to run on a PlayStation 4? It can't be that difficult.
But it's not impossible. They could make an emulation program of sorts to do it. But okay, to look at it from Sony's point of view, it's like, okay, we could do that, but it would take a ton of time and money, and how many people are really going to make that big of a fuss about it if we don't do it?
I would.
I mean, how many people are honestly going to throw their PlayStations out the window and scream they'll never buy it again if we don't put backwards compatibility in? It's really not that many. So for that reason, I can understand them just not putting it in. Or maybe they're not putting it in
Yeah.
at first, they'll add it in at a later date. That would make sense.
I know it seems weird I'm complaining about it because like emulation exists on the PC, but I'm just saying it'd be cool to have options for those console players,
Yeah.
They're never a bad thing.
Like options like using mouse and keyboard now.
Yes, exactly. Which is, if it's not already on the Xbox One, then it's coming to the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. I can already see that.
One thing I will say, is a little bit off topic, but it's just like, to shill for the PC some more since, I am the ultimate shill lord for the PC. I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 recently because I'm a console peasant and I I don't know. I guess I like third-person action adventures with stealth elements. I don't know, like I'm trying to think of other buzzwords top action campaign uses. What else am I? Oh yeah, that's right. I like anime. That's the worst insult of all he could use for me.
And there's nothing wrong liking anime.
It is to him.
To
I'm
who?
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love you, Top Hats and Champagne. Good luck with the game you're making.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, do you know Top Hats and Champagne's making a game?
I do now. I haven't watched
Yeah.
him much lately.
And I haven't watched him too much in a while. I just watched one of them like a few weeks ago, and or no, on his Twitter he mentioned that he was making a game, point
Okay.
and click adventure. Anyway, back on the topic, I was talking about Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm playing it on the PlayStation 4, so technically on the base PlayStation 4, so pretty much the worst version. And maybe it's because I haven't been as much exposed to PC gaming and whatnot, or at least like the highest of PC gaming. But it does like I'm surprised of how impressive it looks even on like the quote unquote worst version. And all I can think is during this is, man, if this ends up coming to PC, which it totally should, and it'll be and Take Two and Rockstar would be stupid if they don't, because they're would literally lose millions of dollars over it.
Hmm.
But like if they do, I can only imagine how like mind blowing it would look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, I'm like fairly certain it's gonna come to PC. What about you? Do you think it'll come to PC?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. I'm fairly
the
certain
same.
that.
I mean, even with Red Dead Redemption 1, you can sort of get it on PC now if you emulate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
As
probably
to
a
why they
sap.
didn't bring that game over, I can understand it, but Red Dead Redemption 2, they don't really have an excuse.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a sap for probably not waiting for the PC version, but I got it as a Christmas gift and whatnot, so I didn't really spend anything. So I figured, why not? You know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let's say with Kingdom Hearts, says they could put that on the PC if they wanted.
There are rumors that they might. Never like lose hope.
Yeah,
You never
especially with
know
the
what's going
third
to be.
one now using the Unreal Engine.
Yeah. You never know what is and isn't going to be ported to PC, like, or when it's going to be ported to PC. Like Journey, is a game that's been out for years and years and whatnot, and is only just now, getting released for the PC.
Hmm. And it used to be a PS3 exclusive.
Yeah.
Wonder if they'll bring
What?
Flower along as well.
Yeah. They might. Oh,
Would that work on PC? I'm trying to wonder if that would
I
work
know.
there.
I know. I know they released Flower on PlayStation 4.
Hmm.
Uh, Let me briefly skim it over. Let me just see if it's listed on Wikipedia really quick. Flower, video game, the game. What I wonder is why was that? Why was Journey exclusive to the PlayStation 3 if it was an indie game? Like, did Sony personally fund it or something?
I don't know that one, but
Huh. Apparently, Flower's on the is on the mobile phone. Cool.
okay, I could see that.
Um,
I would like it on PC though.
Hopefully, Journey being on PC will motivate that company to bring it over.
Yeah. Or even motivate them to make more big games. I mean, they have a really unique way of doing it.
Yeah, they do. What else is out? Also,
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if like, like there's a. Also, would be surprised if, like Persona 5 ends up. We were talking about that, like it coming to Switch and PC. There's a lot of rumors of big games out there coming to PC and even Switch and stuff. I hope the
Hmm.
rumors are true.
Even rumor up now of supposedly Witcher 3 getting a Switch port.
Have there been rumors of that?
Supposedly there has. Let me
I
check my
remember.
notifications again. A
I
rumored
remember.
port of The Witcher 3, yeah. There is one that's out there, rumored.
Oh, I don't know how that's gonna. That'll be interesting to see how that works.
Well, if Panic Button does it, I could see it working.
Yeah. I will say this though, like I think like Reggie Fils-Aimé of Nintendo of America said in an interview that he would like Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch, but all I can think is, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
That never
uh,
say never. People
I know.
didn't
I'm not
think
saying.
Doom could get the Switch, and it did.
Yeah, that's why I'm not saying never. I'm saying I don't think. It's like I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It's just
Hmm.
um uh Jesus, they'd have to have like even that might be much for Panic Button, but like we'll have to wait and see.
Mm.
I don't think it's impossible, but they'd probably have to downgrade quite a few things because like man, does that game like I can't even comprehend how it runs on consoles.
Yeah. With very careful tweaking, I imagine.
Yeah. I wonder. It was a big. Yeah, it was really funny, like how I sort of predicted Doom being on Nintendo Switch. Because a month before it was actually announced, I just absentmindedly said to myself, it would be pretty cool if Doom ended up coming on Nintendo Switch, but that's probably never going to happen. And a month later, it did happen, so I sort of predicted it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kinda, sorta, not really predicted it. Congrats, Papa
Yeah,
G.
yeah. Maybe I should enter the lottery next.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I shouldn't. That's a good way to waste money. Um, Let me think. Oh yeah, do you want to talk about villains now and whatnot and Kylo Ren?
Mm. That's quite the segue you made there.
Well, I didn't know how else to do it. Sorry.
Mm. All right then. It was I remember this. You brought this conversation up. You wanted to know what is it that makes a villain powerful, right?
Yes.
What makes a villain powerful? It's a very specific way. It's how good are they at attacking the protagonist's greatest weakness.
Fair enough.
Let's say, I mean, you're tired of Star Wars, so I'll use a different example. Joker from The Dark Knight.
Funny, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, he attacks Batman's greatest weakness. Batman doesn't kill.
And
Which
it
allows
does
the
make
Joker to get away
sense.
with a lot.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, like I think in a lot of superheroes, a lot of the problems in comics or superhero movies would be resolved a lot more quicker if they just killed the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
You
if I have to
can,
use a different comic book here, villain, let's use Lex Luthor. He's good at attacking Superman's greatest weakness, not just kryptonite, but in that Superman's image. He has to be the hero to everyone.
yeah.
So all Lex Luthor has to do is make sure that he has good publicity and Superman can't touch him.
And like why? And like I'll let you bring up Star Wars. Like why? I know, like maybe not. Don't use Kylo Ren because I already know how Kylo Ren is a bad villain. But can you think of someone else? Like how about that guy from Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Why is he bad? Because it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like he attacks Laura pretty well by saying this is all your fault, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
yeah,
sure.
he does, which was... What I can say about a bad villain is that he comes off as actually more sympathetic than Lara does.
Fair enough.
I mean, Lara, I'd say, arguably attacks him first by playing on his fear of the world's gonna be destroyed. What did you do?
Um. And like how and
I
like
mean,
what do
their
you think is
first
a good?
meeting is like, Lara Croft, I am a fan. And then she goes, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna destroy the world with the Mayan apocalypse. And you did what?
And what? And you mentioned to me off podcast that there is a way to what was it? Oh yeah, like make a villain make mistakes and not make them look incompetent. And what is that?
Yeah, there's acceptable villain mistakes. The Joker, I'm sorry, acceptable mistakes a villain can make without destroying their impact.
I think you can say that in general for characters actually. Like
Mm.
there's a lot like I think if it's in character, if it's a reasonable mistake a character would make, you- like at least
But
for me
it's
and
funny you
stuff.
mention that because there's two main kinds that a villain can make. One is a vice mistake, and the other is a hindsight mistake. So if you think about any real powerful, impactful villain, even if they lose, it's usually because they make one of those two mistakes. So go back to the Dark Knight example. What's the big mistake Joker makes with the two boats? Is that he believes the city is just as rotten as he is, that they'll blow each other up, so he waits and waits, checking his watch. There's no explosions.
And
that hesitation leads to his downfall. Literally.
One thing that this is definitely one way ways what I'm about to say can be done well, but one thing that always annoys me, especially when I was a kid, is the classic villain mistake of, oh, I could kill you now, but I'm just gonna leave you here or whatnot, or I'm not gonna kill you now for some stupid arbitrary reason or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously I think it can do well, like if it's like a certain character who's like, I want to humiliate you in front of blah blah blah, or like certain examples or whatnot. A lot of times it kind of just rolls my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as I hate to say this, Assassin's Creed 3 sort of did this somewhat decently. And trust me, it pains me to say that more than it pains any of you. Because no one hates Assassin's Creed 3 more than I do. But I think one of the main villain bad guys, what's his name, Charles Lee, apparently doesn't kill Connor because he's like, I want to wait till everything that you care about is burned and destroyed in ash, and then I'll kill you and stuff. And that is sort of like, okay, that makes him look more evil, and that's like understandable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a failed attempt at a hindsight mistake.
Yeah. And for the record, I'm not saying Assassin's Creed 3 is good at all. I'm just saying that one little thing is kind of alright. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anyone
doesn't really work.
What doesn't really work?
It doesn't work for you, because the mistake just doesn't feel that right to you.
Well, like, no, I'm saying, like, that's one of the times where I'm like, it's a mistake I can understand.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it is a good mistake then. Alright.
Yes, I was in it as a good example from a mostly bad game.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's really funny how much I hate Assassin's Creed 3.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Assassin's Creed 3.
Well, since you've given me permission to talk Star Wars now, here's a good example of a hindsight mistake. It'd be in a Star Wars A New Hope, where Darth Vader gets blindsided by Han Solo.
Yeah, guess that's one, yeah.
I mean, multiple people like Fratanga have said, well, that shouldn't have happened. He's Force sensitive, he should have seen that coming.
To be fair, like, what people do and don't sense in the Force changes from media to media in Star Wars.
I mean, my entire argument was all the other Rebel fighters had gone or been destroyed. He was totally focused on Luke. He knew Luke had the Force. He says so himself in one of his famous lines.
Yeah.
So Luke had the best chance of destroying the Death Star, and they knew what the Death Star's weakness was. It made sense for him to focus solely on Luke and not notice Han Solo till it was too late.
Another hindsight mistake, which is good or bad one, will vary on your opinion, but is that in The Last Jedi, Luke assumed that Kylo had already fallen, but he didn't. And thus he was an idiot. But the less I bring about The Last Jedi, the better. Ignoring that, yeah, that's probably a good example.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to bring up why, some of the mistakes in, let's say, The Force Awakens that didn't make sense or failed hindsight mistakes. Like it's in Kylo Ren's first appearance where he kills the old man that had the map to Luke Skywalker.
Oh, but he didn't have the map to Luke Skywalker. He gave it to Poe, didn't he?
Yeah, but even so, why kill the old man? I mean, he clearly knows who Kylo Ren is. He's probably seen the map himself, or at least knows who has it now. Kylo Ren has literally no incentive to kill the old man at this point. He has every incentive to keep him alive.
Maybe he was a dick to him when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, even so,
even if he's totally consumed by the dark side, he has every practical reason to keep this guy alive. But he kills him instead. Maybe... The only reason he walks away with anything is because Poe loses all of his brain cells and decides to attack the First Order by himself and get caught.
Oh no, I actually, okay. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are really stupid, but that's one thing I kind of like, only because when I was a kid, I was always like, why don't they just shoot the ultimate bad guy there? Do it now, and stuff. And then they sort of did it, and that made me go, oh, that's why they don't. However, I guess that's probably more on me being an idiot than anything. Never mind.
Hmm.
Gave us a cool special effect where he was holding the
Hmm.
lightsaber,
Yeah.
not lightsaber, laser in
Hmm.
place.
Yeah. Well, I guess with the whole Snoke thing, what that was an attempt at a Vice mistake.
What's the
Where
vice mistake?
Snoke was so sure he had absolute control over Kylo Ren that Kylo
Mm,
would never even try betraying him.
yeah.
But even that falls flat due to this one line of, I am inside his mind, I know his every thought, I see him trying to strike his greatest enemy. If you know all that, why didn't you see him moving the lightsaber towards you?
Well, that's the point. He was like, so he was like, you could
Well, then
say
he
to
would
bring up
know what
to bring
he's
back
really
to bring
thinking
back
if he's inside your mind.
to
It
bring
does not
back
make
the Darth
sense.
to bring up the Darth Vader example. He was so focused on Rey and whatnot and seeing her dead that he wasn't really focusing on Kylo.
Mm,
And maybe he was wrong. Maybe he was like clearly he was wrong. Clearly he didn't know everything inside Kylo's mind. So maybe he was wrong.
it's an example that really falls flat.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, especially when you consider this is the dark side. People betray each other all the time. It's part of Star Wars lore. I mean, Snoke really
Yeah,
should have seen that coming.
yeah, I guess.
Unless you're going to deny what happened in KOTOR, are you, Papa G? Have you really
Well,
fallen
no,
that far?
no. But like, how do we know? Like, what I'm arguing is, and this is like a shitty argument, I know, but I have to bring it up. Is that like, how do we know that like he really knew what was going on in his mind? What if he just saw it, but really like Kylo was hiding his true feelings from him?
Mm. Now you're really reaching at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. So never mind. I always joke that I hate talking about Star Wars, but then I always end up talking about it. For the record, I don't actually hate talking about Star Wars. I love talking about Star Wars. It's just I'm just annoyed. I'm just annoyed of seeing us like of constantly seeing Last Jedi sucks videos get spammed at me in my recommendation feed on YouTube, and I'm a little bitter about that. I
Hmm.
know I can just hit like I'm not interested, but I just can't help but be at least a little bitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just bitter
The
because I
Last Jedi
can't
does
admit
suck, so it does have to be roasted.
that. No, no, I know, but like maybe it's just because I'm bitter and I feel like I was wrong, and now I'm like constantly the universe is trying to rub it in my face.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being wrong now and then, as long as you admit it.
Mm. I still don't think it's god awful. I think it's like dumb, stupid popcorn entertainment. That's can
Hmm.
turn your brain off for
Hmm.
I don't know. You can say that. I always hate that thing where it's like you can turn your brain off. It's like yeah, you can, but it's like you can do that with literally anything. Have fun.
Well, if I have to turn my brain off to enjoy something, it's probably not that good. The
Exactly.
only reason I'd have to turn my brain off would be to ignore objective problems with the story or the presentation.
No, I don't think it's like very good like script wise and whatnot, but I still think it's like I don't know. It's kind of fun to watch and whatnot. And like I think there's some cool idea. I think there's some cool ideas in there that are executed really poorly. Like I like the idea of Luke being an old begrudging person and whatnot, but the way they did it was really bad. You know what I mean?
Mm, I'm not entirely sure about that. I still think his change just didn't feel earned.
Well, that's my point. That's what I mean by like they didn't do it well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no,
Last Jedi, Last
well, then
Jedi
it
kind
should
of
have been.
sucks. But
Well, again, when
Last
you
Jedi,
turn Luke into a grouchy old hermit and then destroyed his character,
no, I
which is
feel like
pretty
well,
crap. And there's no good reason for his actions either.
well, that's what I'm trying to say though. Like if like what I'm trying to say is if they had him as an old grouch, but his reasons justified and earned, I think it could have been really good.
Hmm. I mean, kind of like the Injustice Gods Among Us series.
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
Whereas I'm pretty sure it was that one. Superman basically turns into the Punisher.
Worse than the Punisher. I think he just becomes a tyrannical dictator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but nonetheless, that's a transformation that took a huge event to happen, so I'd say it was more earned. Anything else?
Well, that's my point. My point is if it was earned and whatnot, I think it would have been really good. And what I'm trying to say
Not
is,
really.
Last Jedi kind of sucks, but I had fun
Well,
with it anyway.
even if the change was earned, it's just the way it goes out then would still not be good. Is
Anyway,
that we're gonna turn this character into an absolute wimp, and then we're gonna kill him off like an absolute wimp.
He didn't die like a wimp. That's one thing I'll defend. I thought his death scene was kind of cool.
He overdosed on the Force and died.
Well, yeah, but so did Yoda. He overdosed on the Force.
No, he didn't. He was extremely old, and it was his time to go.
Fair enough. Well, my point is, I liked this, not like the context behind it, but I liked the scene. Like the scene, I liked the idea. I liked the scene of him looking up at the two suns, the music playing, and him disappearing. I liked that.
Yeah, it was so great that now they're thinking of bringing him back in some way.
Not necessarily. Apparently, he might be a Force ghost in the next one.
Yeah. Well, I thought he should just get rid of the past now. I mean, wasn't that the point of the movie?
My point is, I'm not trying to defend The Last Jedi, guys. Why am I saying guys? I'm not trying to defend The Last Jedi. It's a shitty movie.
Did you just assume their gender, Papa G? Did you?
Yes, I did. Anyway, Last Jedi is kind of a shitty movie and whatnot, objectively. Yes, I use that word, but there are some things in it I kind of like. And, I don't know, I think certain problems with it are over-exaggerated, but others are not. And, yeah. I mean, it seems pretty bad overall. Like, a lot of stupid shit happens that doesn't make sense. Kind of bad. I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it and still had fun with it. I think some problems are over-exaggerated. And,
well, do you agree that Canto Bite scene could have been taken out?
The other thing that I'm wondering is that, like, for a while I thought yes, but it's like, isn't Canto Bite kind of important to them finding the Codebreaker guy?
Who does really nothing anyway.
But isn't that, oh yeah, kind of. Like, Canto Bite is kind of pointless and bad, but I don't think it's the worst scene ever.
Well, I didn't say it was the worst scene ever. I'm thinking it's just irrelevant to the story. I'd say the biggest sin of this new sequel trilogy is what it does with Finn. I mean, that was a character with a huge amount of potential, and they just demote him into token black comedy sidekick number 16 billion.
Yeah, kinda, pretty much.
I mean, anyway, I guess if they were gonna try and make him a comedic character, they could have done it the Full Metal Panic way, but they didn't.
I don't know. When I first heard they were making this, like, I don't know. Ever since The Force Awakens first came out, I was a little disappointed with the direction that the Star Wars films are going in. It's like I've sort of just come to terms with it, like, quicker than everyone else, where I'm like, okay, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't like what is gonna be that satisfying, so I'll just enjoy them as, like, dumb popcorn movies, you know? But I have had some fun. And I know that's pretty shallow of me or whatnot, but it's like, what I'm saying is that I know what they are, and that's what I enjoy them for. They're not high art, and it's not, I don't know. I gotta stop trying to defend myself. Why am I always constantly trying to defend myself?
Because you have something worth defending.
What they really should have done is something like Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, or, like, you know, those games and whatnot. Or I guess some of the extended universe and whatnot. However, I heard, like, one thing that is stupid was, like, that I do think is kind of dumb, is that apparently Han Solo and Princess Leia's son in the extended universe is named Anakin Solo. And I have to wonder, why would you name him Anakin? I mean, I
It's a
guess
symbol of
from
them coming to terms with what Darth Vader was and who he used to be.
I mean, I guess, but like,
Because in the
look at it
extended
from
universe, Leia was actually visited by his Force ghost.
oh, interesting. I guess, but like, look at it in a way. Look at it from like Han Solo's perspective. From Han Solo's perspective, like, I mean, yes, from Leia and Luke's perspective, he's their father. From Han's perspective, it's just some fucking jackass who kidnapped him, tortured him, did a bunch of shitty stuff and whatnot, and then it's like, I don't know, and then just like, and then died off and whatnot. So it's like, why would he? I don't know. I just can't
Well,
imagine.
Han Solo changes for the extended universe. I mean, he
Right?
develops as a character should. I mean, he doesn't just turn into a washed up old bum and go back to smuggling and undo all of his character development over 30 years.
Anakin's Solo.
In fact,
No, I can't help it. I
this
can't help
is
it.
one thing I want to ask about. What do you think about the Vader fan movie?
I haven't seen it. I've only recently heard of it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
I'll check it out soon. I've heard mixed things on it, but like, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. I mean, if they could make
Yeah.
a fan movie somehow, they probably need a much bigger budget to pull this off. They could make a fan movie of some part of the Yuuzhan Vong invasion. I'd love that.
Is that part of the extended universe?
Yeah, I mean, they're actually, and take notes if you're watching this, Rian, they're actually a species that comes from outside the galaxy to take over.
Interesting.
Yes, that's how you do other galaxies right, Rian.
Is it true that Chewbacca died in a shitty way in the extended universe? Like, what I've heard, apparently, like, was it one of Han Solo's kids is stuck on like some asteroid or something, and they leave Chewbacca to die? Did that happen, or did I mishear things?
That one I'll have to look more into. I mean, I'm not the greatest expert on the expanded universe, but I do know a lot about it.
I don't know why I've never read the extended universe. I really should. I mean, I've read one or two books, but that was like fucking like a decade ago, so I barely remember it.
Yeah, it even goes into why does Dooku specifically turn to the dark side, which the movies don't really go into.
It would be interesting. That sounds interesting. What I want, though.
And what happens to Jar Jar Binks?
I don't know. To me, I can't help but feel a little bad about hearing that. Like, she ends up as some rundown clown bum. That just seems kind of mean.
Well, he does what he was made to do.
Like,
he entertains kids.
Like, is he a clown? But like, is he like a bum, or is he just like a clown or what?
He's a street performer now.
Okay, is he sad? I don't know. I don't like Jar Jar, but like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, if he gave emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor. And is part of the reason why he came into power as the Emperor.
Yeah.
So it was like his own species was like, okay, this time we're really through with you, get out.
I guess doesn't that kind of ruin his arc in the Phantom Menace? That he started out as exile, but then he ended up being respected and whatnot.
And then he screwed up again.
I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to like feel bad for Jar Jar. It's fucking Jar Jar, but still, though, that kind of ruins any arc he was really supposed to have. Where he's like, he started out as an exile, now he's respected or whatnot, but then he goes back to being an exile again. So things just went full circle.
Yeah, maybe he'll be relevant again one day.
Probably not.
Yeah. Oh, and there is one thing I know I really should need to ask you. Do you know what front panel connectors are now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Like, calling himself part of the PC Master Race, he didn't know what front panel connectors were.
Yes, I know. I'm ashamed. I'll make up to it by going to the PC Master Race Church and doing a bunch of PC Master Race prayers to
Mm-hmm.
I guess the closest one Beyonce since technically created. Well, he didn't really create the PC Master Race. He just named the PC Master Race.
Mm-hmm. And it just evolved from there.
I mean, the PC Master Race already existed and whatnot. Just like they took the joke and ran with it.
You know, it's a good way to make use of a joke.
I wonder. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a bit random, but since we're talking about Star Wars and also mentioned KOTOR a while,
Mm-hmm.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, um, uh, hmm. Yeah, KOTOR 2. I mentioned earlier that despite their stored content mod, there's still some things I feel unfinished, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't think of an example, but now I finally thought of one example. Um, uh, in the KOTOR 2, even in the restored content mod, Beodor kind of disappears and whatnot from the plot near the end of the game, and you never know what happens to him. And like, apparently, I did some reading, and apparently, at one point, he was supposed to die, but they never actually like um filmed it or like did the scene. So it kind of
Mm-hmm.
feels awkward because he just sort of disappears from the plot.
Yeah, at least now you know.
Um, uh, so I have a question. This is something I'm generally curious about. Which do you think are worse? Is worse? The not counting Revenge of the Sith. Which do you think is worse? Episode 1, 2, or The Last Jedi?
I would definitely say The Last Jedi.
Okay, fair
The
enough. I'm
Last
just curious.
Jedi still has a Mary Sue in charge. And those that say Anakin is a Mary Sue, no, he is not. I mean, there's a big difference between him and a Mary Sue.
It's been a while since I've watched it, but like do you know which is better? Do you know the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoons? The 2D one and the 3D one. Do
Hmm.
you know which one's better, or do you
I
not
haven't really
know?
watched them. I need to get to doing that.
Okay, fair enough. And what else is going on out there in the um
Well, while we're here, again, we've mentioned Mary Sue's. Could we, I guess we could talk about what one is so we can give a concrete definition?
um I guess a good example I could think of. Well, like we had no example, but it's like guess to me what a Mary Stew or a Gary Stew is someone who seemingly has no flaws, is pretty much successful at everything, is loved by pretty much everyone, and is just sort of and like is like this for like seemingly no unexplained reason and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I think a character can have Gary Stew or Mary Stew elements to them, like
Mm-hmm.
pretty much a lot of Star Wars characters have Mary Stew or Gary Stew elements to them and whatnot, like Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker and whatnot. But um, uh, what was I gonna say? But oh yeah, but like just because having certain elements of character doesn't make them instantly bad characters or even Gary Stew slash Mary Stews in themselves.
Yeah.
Even then, like I'm wondering, do you think it's possible to have a Gary Stew like character and still have it be done well?
Well, it would depend on the one trait I would say that all Mary Sues or Gary Stews have in common, which is that
I mean,
the
Doom guys.
universe bends so that to them, so that
I mean,
they get what they
Doom,
want.
Doom guy's a Mary Sue. Gary
No, he
Sue.
is not.
The universe bends to his will. He's great at everything for seemingly no reason.
All
We
right,
don't know
perhaps
his
I need to
backstory.
define my terms a bit more clearly than if you're trying to say Doom Guy's Mary Sue. When I refer to the universe, I mean the world of the story. In the story, there are set rules of what characters can and can't do.
But for me, it
I mean,
doesn't. The rules don't need to necessarily be broken in order for it to be a Mary Stu or a Gary
well,
Stu. It's
yes,
just
they do. It's a pretty big example. I mean, Superman is one incredibly powerful character, but he is still bound by the rules of the universe he lives in. If you shot him with a kryptonite bullet, he couldn't just shrug it off and go har har and shoot you with a laser beam. He would be seriously hurt.
fair enough.
So he is not a Mary Sue for that reason. Now, with a Mary Sue, the rules of the universe bend to meet the character's needs. Like Grey, for example, all of a sudden she needs to be able to resist Kylo Ren's mind power, something she wasn't able to do earlier. All of a sudden, she gets the ability to do it. She needs to beat him in a lightsaber duel. Oh, guess what? She downloaded all the training from his mind. Man, where did she learn how to do that? And doesn't it sound like a force power of the dark side? Who cares? She can do it. Basically, why on earth is Leia giving her the ship of her late husband? Who cares? She just instantly trusts Rey, who she's only just met now.
Well, like no, that one I can give. That one I can give an excuse for. That one is because she's going to find her brother and whatnot, and it's the only ship they have on hand.
No, they have other ships left. I mean, why would she not keep them?
Well, maybe not the only ship. Well, maybe not the only ship on hand, but it's like.
And see, you're struggling to explain it.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's like my point is. Well, I guess not the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I
I mean, Supreme Leader Snoke seems to know she is. Luke Skywalker seems to know she is till that plot thread was thrown away. And it's the idea. And all of a sudden, was like 2 days ago she was nobody. Now she's fighting Supreme Leader Snoke. So that's the idea. The entire universe bends to her will and basically gives her whatever she needs or wants. Oh, you need the lightsaber? Here's the lightsaber of Anakin Skywalker. How did we get it from the gas planet? Who cares? It's here now.
Say that last one again.
Everything just falls into place for her.
What did you say about the very last one? What was the last one?
You need a lightsaber? Oh, look, here's Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. How the hell did it get on there when we definitely saw it being thrown away in, like, Empire Strikes Back? Who cares? It's there for you now. It's like everything falls into place for her far too neatly. She just gets whatever she wants with almost no effort and no struggle.
Well,
if there's no struggle, everything is boring. If there's no struggle, there's no flaws. And there's little personality.
And what were the other examples? Can you name a few other examples again?
A few other examples of Rey being a Mary Sue. Well, I guess those are the main ones I can think of, where the universe is basically just bending to meet her will.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, to the point, like, how the hell did she learn how to download power from someone else's brain? It's a, who cares? She can do it. But doesn't that sound like a bit of a dark side power? It doesn't matter. She can do it. It's not dark side when she does it.
What was a dark side power?
Downloading someone's training from their brain. What was it Master Yoda said again? The dark side is not more powerful. It's easier. It's quicker. It's a shortcut to power. I can think of no other greater shortcut to power than literally downloading somebody's skills from their brain.
I want to go back one more thing though. Rey's definitely Mary Sue, but like on the Millennium Falcon point, like why would Leia just say no? You're not using the Millennium Falcon. I'm gonna keep it here where it's not used and just stow it away. That's what Han would have wanted it to be not used.
No, she'd keep it in her own fleet. I mean, put it this way. I mean, say, for example, you had a girlfriend, your girlfriend just died, would you just give her car up to someone you've only just met?
I
Because they're
mean,
supposedly going to use it for a good deed?
oh well, what if that person said to you, "Hey, I'm gonna use this card to find your long lost brother who you haven't seen in X amount of years."
Well,
Would
you
you be
wouldn't
more
ask
willing
who
then?
the hell this person is, or why they have your dead lover's car?
Well, what if like someone who was best friends with you and your dead lover said, "Hey, you can trust this person," who is Chewbacca?
Who has now been relegated to the role of an Uber driver, but even so, you'd probably still be a bit hesitant, wouldn't you?
I guess, yeah.
Hmm. What have you done to Chewbacca people? You've turned him into an Uber driver
I think I can't remember who brought this up,
who
but
just
this is
eats
kind of a
porgs, and that's all he does.
I think this is a good point. I think that's primarily because since I think this is where they screwed them there. I think since Han Solo's dead, there's really not much for him to do. I think what really made him shine was this being this Han. Without him,
Mm,
he's just sort of non-existent. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, he was never a fantastic character to begin with, but I think he like shined a lot more being as a duo with him and Han.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Anyway. Here's a question though. Like, why is Star Wars as a whole ruined, and not just this one particular trilogy?
Mm. Why is Star Wars as a whole ruined?
Yes.
Not just particular trilogy. Well, it's now because I cannot go back and watch the original trilogy with any kind of happiness.
Oh,
It's
come
like,
on.
I know how this ends.
How
All of
can you
this
say
is going to be
that?
undone. The Empire's going to come back. It's going to be even stronger than before. Oh, yeah, and this great hero, the most hopeful person ever, is going to become a useless, disgusting wuss on an island somewhere who
Or
dies
you
for
can,
the wussiest reason possible.
or you can say these movies are not canon. Say the extended universe is canon, or whatnot, and then go and watch them and still enjoy them.
Yeah.
Are you really
Or I
seriously
guess we
saying
could
you
even
can't?
make our own fan films about the expanded universe. We could do that.
Yes, are you saying
That seems to be the hot new thing to do now.
so are you really saying you can't enjoy the new the old Star Wars movies?
What's how can I when I know how it's going to end?
But like that's not how it ends. There's technically one more movie.
Yeah, but doesn't even matter. They've already destroyed the character of Luke Skywalker.
What if you don't consider the new movies canon? Then can you go back and enjoy them?
As long as I do that, I could probably go back and enjoy them. But it's kind of
Fair
hard
enough.
to do it when the reminder is all over the place.
Fair enough. But I don't believe you that you can't enjoy them anymore. Because if you couldn't enjoy them, you wouldn't be debating about this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm debating about the stuff because they have affected those movies.
Fair enough. Anyway,
So I guess, actually, now that we're discussing this, here's a better point. Does Rian Johnson make a good supervillain?
I don't know. To me, I think he's just more of a, I don't know, a guy who's probably in over his head a bit, and is probably genuinely want to make a good movie, but it's fucked up.
Mm,
I don't think he like maliciously tried to ruin people's childhood or anything.
well, differing thoughts on that one.
I don't know, man.
I
Like,
mean, how is it you make a movie with so much bathos in it without trying?
I don't know.
And for those who don't know, that's when you take a incredibly serious moment and try to make it comedic. And there is objectively a ton of that in The Last Jedi.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Unless anyone wants to try and argue that we are going to destroy your entire fleet, there will be no surrender. Somehow go to, I have a message for General Hux about his mama. Wait, what?
Oh, wait. Do you think episode 4, 5, and 6 are good movies?
4, 5, and 6, yeah, they're good movies.
Okay, then The Last Jedi did not ruin it, because you still think they're good movies.
The Last
I
Jedi
got
is a continuation of them, which causes all the characters to end in a bad way.
fair enough. Um,
Yeah, in fact, even Leia gets ruined in The Last Jedi.
I just want there to. I just hope the next movie's called The Gay Jedi, and it's revealed Rey is a lesbian or whatnot.
It wouldn't surprise me at this point. I mean, there's already calls for Star Wars characters to be gay now.
It's been calls for a while.
Mm.
Let's just celebrate for a minute the diversity of directors that have worked with Disney
Mm-hmm.
on Star Wars, including white guy, um, uh, another white guy, um, another white guy, two white guys this time, who were fired and replaced by a new white guy. In the future, there's going to be another white guy who was
Mm-hmm.
fired and replaced by the white guy that did Episode 7. Really
Yep.
diverse there, Disney. I'm only making this joke because apparently, I don't know when, like several years ago, Kathleen Kennedy made a promise saying we will have a female direct one of our upcoming Star Wars movies or whatnot. And
Yeah.
so I can see your fast track. I can see that's on one of your top priorities.
I wonder is how many people actually believe that, or how many people say it just because it's trendy. I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, even Marvel Comics is starting to think about moving away from it,
Uh,
which would be good because all their comics so far are damn boring. Once Marvel got diverse, it really
yeah,
the quality took a nosedive,
fair enough.
and then all the stories were just the same, and all the characters in them were Mary Sue's.
What about Miles Morales? I heard he's like really beloved.
Mm-hmm.
I
With
guess
him,
he's
I
an
think he's
exception.
one of the exceptions. He's not the rule.
Fair enough. I. Anyway, should we end the podcast here?
Well, do you want to have any New Year's resolutions first?
Oh yeah. I think going forward, I forgot to record this episode because I'm a fucking idiot. But I'm going forward. I'm gonna try to record the podcast more often. At least, and that's one of my resolutions. And I'm gonna try to be a more productive member of the podcast. I feel like I've been slacking a bit. You've been doing most of the legwork, and I really need to become a more supportive member to not just you as a content creator, but but also us as a team, like makes videos and whatnot and podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how do you think do you think I've been doing a bad job, or do you think what do you think? Be honest.
There are definitely parts you could have done better.
Exactly, and that's where I don't think I'm doing an awful job. Maybe I am doing an awful job. Am I doing an awful job?
I've had my doubts about you at
What do
times.
you mean? Oh, do you think I'm doing an awful job? Be honest.
I've said I've had my doubts about you.
Okay. I'm sorry that you've had your doubts about me. Anyway, my point is I realize that I've been well I should have and whatnot. And I'm sorry you've had my doubts about me, and I hope by this time next year you'll be saying I'm doing a fantastic job. Hope
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna become more active and more try to think of more ideas and whatnot, ways to improve, and just be a more active member and like
Yeah.
maybe start recording some more episodes again.
Mm-hmm. And we can actually give the Global Game Podcast a more concrete focus
Yeah.
and possibly a better name.
So what
That
about you?
actually
What are
has to do
some
with our focus.
have I been doing anything good, or have I been doing nothing but bad?
If you do nothing but bad, I'd have fired you by now.
Okay. It's like what I'm worried about is I'm worried I'm holding you back from your like true potential. Like I think you're really talented and really good, and I'm worried I'm coasting off your success.
Mm. Well, you can always get better.
Fair enough. Hopefully, I'm not holding you back.
Moving on to reviews and even some kind of comedic content, which I'll be producing soon.
Sounds good.
Means for
Ever want me
reviews,
to...
I'm currently talking about Final Fantasy 13.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Was it
Anyway.
truly that bad, as we all remember it being?
Anyway. What was I gonna say? If you ever want me to... If you ever want me to cameo or help you with any of the writing, let me know.
Well, one job you could help me with, it's coming up with good story hooks at the beginning of the review videos.
We'll definitely have to think on that.
Remember the Shadow of the Tomb Raider one with the butt trumpet story?
Okay.
Yeah. That one story that describes what I think of the game and how I experienced it. Even how you experienced it.
Well, what's your New
And
Year's
gets people's attention.
What's your New Year's resolution? Resolution.
Well, there's a couple. First is get 100,000 subscribers on this channel. And the second is get enough money for a house.
Sounds good. Be sure to post your New Year's resolutions down in the comments. Or don't, since you lazy
and
fucks
actually try to
don't
accomplish
ever
them. 92% of people don't, so be the 8% that do.
Yeah. And I don't want to say it over the podcast, but I actually do have one idea, one suggestion for you involving the Final Fantasy 13 thing. I'll wait till we're off the air to say it for that, since I don't want to spoil it. So until next time, have a great New Year, everyone. Don't drink too much. Don't do anything too dangerous. And have a wonderful night.
Goodbye.
Bye.